In this video, we're going to continue to see how we can set up our interior in Twinmotion, and we're going to talk about materials and what PBR materials are and what they're based on. And so this is the lighting that we set up in the previous video. So we started with HDRIs, so we can define a lighting system using a single image, which is also called image-based lighting. And then we are moving forward. We created a studio, a photographic studio, to study the basics notions about lights. And in the previous one, we saw also how we can use IES effects for interiors to have more realistic effect for spotlights. But you can see that right now they're like a little bit floating into space, so we need to add some 3D meshes in there. And also we can have volumetric light using fog. So we either use the haze in the light, or we can use the fog in the environment. So this is going to create the volumetric effect and the volumetric fog, of course. So in this video, we're going to continue a little bit with the light as well, but we're also going to concentrate more on materials. We will see how we can create custom materials. Now, these are some renderings, and using real-time renderer and using the path tracer renderer from previous video. This is an exterior. You can see I've added also a water plane there, so just added a plane with some water. You can see we have some nice reflections, and also we can see the inside. So this is kind of a inside interior exterior rendering, so we can do both. And of course I created this one here by adding a lot of ready-made props and assets that I find in the libraries. So I added people, chair, sofa, plants, and so on, and also a lamp right here. But I will show you that you will need also to add the light inside the lamp. So we can illuminate our scene. We can create our interior rendering using natural light. So the sun and the sky, we can use procedural sky, we can use HDRIs, and the sun that it's embedded within the HDRI. So HDRIs can be used also for interior renderings, as well as exterior, and as well as product design, product visualization. So in this video, we're gonna do more like architectural visualization. And so other things that I've done here, well, just added some people, also a sky there. You can see the sun reflected in the swimming pool, and which I created just by adding a plane and adding a water material that we also saw previously in other lessons. So you can see also I've added some assets in the exterior, and that's the pool right there. So you can see it's just a plane. So if I push this up, you can see it's a plane. And usually planes, they have only one side, so they are not three-dimensional, they are bidimensional. So you could have problems with materials when you use planes, because they have like front side, which is visible, and a back side, which is not visible. And these are all the other props right here that I've used. These are some examples you can see in the libraries. I marked them as favorites. So these are for the backyard, swimming pool, and tables and sofas. Also, I've added some barbecues. And here you find everything in object, and most of them are in the home library. So you can see here you have living room, kitchen, and you have bathroom, bedroom. So each room of the house can be found here. And there's the backyard, where I found most of the assets that I used in the exterior. Now, of course, we can always have a better experience if you use pedestrian mode. We can move around, and you're gonna hear also the sound of the footsteps. And we're gonna see that each material has a different sound that you can set up. So if I walk on a wooden floor, I will hear the wooden floor sound of my footsteps. If I go in on top of a water plane, I'm gonna hear water splashes and so on. So if I move on a carpet, I'm gonna hear a carpet sound and so on. Now I can run again a render. I've changed just the time of the day, and you will see the difference. So real time is cool because it has a lot of effects. We're gonna see a lot of animated effects later on, but path tracer is more accurate in terms of lighting and materials, as we said also previously. Now I also added a decal there, but we're gonna see that later. I just want to concentrate now on this lamp. So you can see that if I move the lamp around, that lamp is not gonna emit light. It emits light because I've placed an omnidirectional light inside the lamp. So sometimes the lighting device, they come with the light embedded. Other times you need to create your own light. So that's the case for this tripod light. So you can see that I created an omnidirectional light, and let's rename this so we can find it better. Use the scene navigator, use the scene outliner to improve the management of all the assets in your scene. So you can see that if I take that omnidirectional light and I place it inside, and also an important thing is to activate the shadows always, because shadows are really important to make the effect look realistic. So if I place it inside, you can see it's gonna act just like a light bulb in real life, so it's going to be a more realistic effect. Street lamps, on the other hand, street lights, they came with the light embedded. So if I search for this in the scene navigator, in the scene outliner, you can see this is called Hummingbird, and we have the 3D object and the spotlight already together with the objects. Sometimes when you get lights from the library, they're gonna come with the light. Other times you need to build your own. You need to create your little container, little folder where you place. So here I'm gonna right click and just move to container. So I selected the light, I selected the tripod, and I just create a container, a group essentially, because this is gonna help me to keep things together. Otherwise, it's really easy to move the lamp without moving the light, or the other way. So I think this is a good practice to create containers, sub-containers, have a nice hierarchy so you can handle everything nice and easy. Now, I can also change the pivot there because it's kind of far. So to change the pivot, I'm gonna expand the top toolbar and then click on center pivot. So you can see now it's right there. So I can now move this lamp around really easy, place it wherever I want. And you can see the light reflected on the glass. If you want to take that off, you need to decrease the reflection power on the light, just as we saw in another lesson. So remember that if you want to get rid of the point of the reflected omni light. So let's move on here. Now I want to show you here with the primitives, you can create some spotlight for a ceiling, let's say, or you can create like a cylinder, you can add a neon light, you can create a sphere, you can add a neon light. So anything, any shape can become a light if you apply a light material on it. But if you want something more complex, like this one here called retro light from Sketchfab, so you need to create it yourself. You either create it or you get it from Sketchfab or another web source. So you will not find each single prop, each single asset, each single lamp in here in Twinmotion. You need to get it from the outside or you build it yourself. Now I'm going to show you how to create really simple spotlight in Blender. So I'm just going to use a cylinder. Now, of course, this is not going to be like a course in Blender. If you want, there is an entire course dedicated to Blender. This is just to show you what you can do if you're using Blender, or if you're using also another 3D software, it's basically the same. So you switch in polygon editing in editable poly, and you do an inset like this, and then you create an inside extrusion, and that's it. That's all you need to create a really quick and easy spotlight that you can place on the ceiling, and it's gonna show the light in a more realistic fashion. Now I'm also creating a couple of materials here. One material for the inside that is going to be an emissive material. You can see you have emissive also here in Blender. You can bump up the emission value, and then I'm going to invert the selection here and apply another material. So I have an object with two materials. So I don't need to when I import this, I don't need to divide it, collapse by material. I can just bring it with one single object, and then I can apply different materials